MashaAllah. Subhanallah. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
On August 15, 2021, following the fall of Kabul, the flag of the Taliban-controlled Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan once again flew in the nation's capital after an absence of nearly 20 years. The black, red, and green tricolor of the internationally recognized Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, however, still remains the country's official or de jure flag. What exactly happens next for the Afghan people is, well, uncertain. But the country, strategically located at the crossroads of Central and South Asia, has had 25 flags since the Hotak Dynasty was established in 1709, 19 flags in the 20th century alone. And, in light of recent events, I believe that history is worth exploring, perhaps now more than ever. Adopted on August 19, 2013, the previously mentioned flag of the Islamic Republic consists of a vertical tricolor. Black, representing Afghanistan's often troubled history; red, the blood of those shed in the struggle for independence, specifically in the run-up to the Anglo-Afghan Treaty of 1919, which brought an end to the Third Anglo-Afghan War; and green, hope for a more prosperous future. Some have, alternatively, interpreted the flag's color scheme as symbolizing history, more generally, progress, and Islam. The flag is only one of 8 whose design incorporates a depiction of the flag itself, and only one of 6 that features a building, in this case, a mosque. The national emblem of Afghanistan, as featured on the flag, is encircled by sheaves of wheat, under which is the solar Hijri year 1298, 1919 in the Gregorian calendar, the year Afghanistan achieved independence from the British. Below this, you can see the country's name, and up above is the Shahada, an Islamic oath and one of the 5 pillars of Islam. These can all be seen more clearly in a variant of the Afghan flag, which features a colored-in version of the national emblem. In contrast, the flag of the Taliban-controlled Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which likely first made its debut in 1996-1997, is of a much simpler design, having a plain white field and Ash-Shahada in black text. The emirate also has its own version of the national emblem, encircled by 2 swords and sheaves of wheat. Moreover, on August 19, 2021, the 102nd anniversary of the country's independence from British rule, what appears to be a new flag design for the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan was announced on Twitter. But as far as I can tell, the original Taliban flag remains in use as well, at least as of the making of this video. Okay, so the first true flag we're going to be talking about is that of the Hotak Dynasty, founded by Mirwais Hotak of the Gilji, one of the largest Pashtun tribes from what is now southeastern Afghanistan. The Hotak came to power following a revolt against the Safavid Empire in 1709, and, at their greatest extent, came to rule an empire of their own, stretching from the mountains of Central Asia in the east to Persia in the west. Their flag, which consisted of a simple design, likely was inspired by the Black Standard, which, in historical tradition, is one of the flags flown by the Prophet Muhammad. And, in 750 AD, following the overthrow of the Umayyad Caliphate, came to be used by the Abbasids. The Hotak dynasty was rather short-lived, however, and by 1741 it had been swallowed up by what came to be known as the Durrani Empire. Founded by Ahmad Shah Abdali, who later, after being appointed king of and uniting Afghanistan proper, adopted the title Shah Durran, meaning king, pearl of pearls. The Durrani Empire under Ahmad Shah's leadership came to be considered one of the greatest Muslim empires of the second half of the 18th century, controlling most of what is today Afghanistan, Pakistan, as well as parts of Iran, notably Khorasan, Turkmenistan, and India. What's more, Ahmad Shah would invade India 4 times, sacking the city of Delhi and eventually conquering the regions of Kashmir and Punjab. The Durrani Empire's flag likely consisted of a green and white triband, also later used by the Emirate of Herat, although a black flag, or more accurately, a pennant with a sword, likely was used as well. Either way, following Ahmad Shah's death in 1772, the empire slowly began to crumble, eventually being succeeded by the Barakzai Dynasty in 1823. The Durrani, however, would briefly make a reappearance from 1839 to 1842, after which the Barakzai Emirate of Afghanistan firmly established itself. That being said, the new emirate did not use any flag until 1880, when it adopted the black standard under the reign of Abdullah Rahman Khan. Over the ensuing decades, a variety of flags would be used by the emirate, including that of Habib-ullah Khan, the first of which to feature a seal, until, in 1926, the country became a kingdom in wake of the Third Anglo-Afghan War. Then, in 1928, the still newly independent Kingdom of Afghanistan adopted a horizontal triband featuring the country's iconic black, red, and green color scheme. Allegedly drawing inspiration from the flag of the Weimar Republic, seen by King Aman-ullah Khan while on a trip to Europe, the kingdom's flag would nonetheless change in design, quite a lot actually, until in March 1930, a design comparable with that of the modern Islamic Republic was adopted under Muhammad Nadir Shah. This design continued to be used by his son, Zahir Shah, until a coup in 1973 that saw Afghanistan transform into a republic. Before getting to that, however, I just wanted to show off some other historical Afghan flags, like that of Hibu Allah Kalakani and the Saqqawists, who in 1929 briefly established an unrecognized state within the country. Their flag, the red, black, and white vertical tricolor you see on screen now, is actually said to have drawn inspiration from the Mongols, who used similar colors during their occupation of the region back in the 13th century. A similar flag, also from 1929, was used during a Tajik rebellion in Herat. And finally, still in 1929 mind you, there's the flag of Ali Ahmad Khan's self-proclaimed rival government based in Jalalabad. Okay, so the Republic of Afghanistan, sometimes called the Daoud Republic for the country's one and only president, Muhammad Daoud Khan, continued to use the former kingdom's flag design until 1974 when it adopted this design. While the colors remained the same, the flag's overall design was rather different and featured a new seal consisting of a gold eagle, a minbar, wheat, and sun rays symbolizing the new republic itself. A variant of this flag appeared in 1978 following Daoud's death in a coup by the People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan and establishment of a communist state. Known as the Saur Revolution, this gave birth to the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. And for Afghanistan, it represented a radical change, in more ways than one. In early 1980, under the leadership of Babrak Karmal, who had been installed by the Soviet Union following the start of the Soviet War in Afghanistan, a subject beyond the scope of this video, the national flag was changed yet again. This design re-established the black, red, and green color scheme, but featured a new seal with ribbons in the national colors, a cogwheel for industry, and a red star for communism. Following the Soviet withdrawal, which began in May 1988 and concluded in February 1989, a period of national reconciliation began that, among other things, saw the adoption of a new flag. In many ways, this design was the same as the previous one, except it moved the cogwheel and did away with the red star and book. The green field also curved slightly to resemble the horizon. However, this design and the short-lived Republic of Afghanistan it was associated with would eventually give way to civil war and the Islamic State of Afghanistan. Established on April 26, 1992 as per the Peshawar Accords, an agreement between several, though not all, mujahideen, the Islamic State of Afghanistan's provisional flag featured a green, white, and black triband along with Arabic text. Some variants of this flag appeared without text, however. Then, under President Burhan-uddin Rabbani, the flag underwent another redesign. This reintroduced the seal used by the Kingdom of Afghanistan with some minor modifications, such as inclusion of the Shahada and swords representing the Mujahideen's victory and the solar Hijra year 1298 in the country's name. That being said, the Islamic State of Afghanistan's power was rather limited. Infighting between various mujahideen factions and petty warlords, much of it centered in the nation's capital, Kabul, continued well into the 90s. Later known as the Kabul Wars, at least 30,000 people, mostly civilians, were killed, and 80% of the city destroyed by 1996. That September, Kabul was seized by the Taliban, an Islamist militia which, after having made its debut in 1994, soon controlled much of the country. Rabbani and other members of the Islamic State of Afghanistan's government fled northward, the former Afghan president later serving as the political head of the Northern Alliance. Meanwhile, in Kabul, the Taliban proclaimed creation of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. The plain white flag used by the emirate later changed in 1997 to include the Shahada. Despite its control of roughly 90% of the country, the Taliban regime would only be recognized by Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The United Nations and others continuing to recognize the Islamic State of Afghanistan as the country's sole legitimate government. On November 12, 2001, the Taliban's 5-year reign came to a sudden end, and the group began a nearly 20-year insurgency. In its absence, however, a transitional administration was established, which adopted the flag you see on screen now. The seal was later changed to gold following a vote in June 2002, and further modifications were then made to the seal itself. A similar design was then adopted by the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan on October 9, 2004, which finally resulted in the modern flag of Afghanistan being adopted in August 2013. And that, in short, is the history of Afghanistan and its 20-plus flags. If you'd like to see us cover more of Afghanistan's history in a future episode, just let us know in the comments down below. And yeah, if you wouldn't mind helping us in appeasing the almighty algorithm, please consider subscribing if you haven't done so. Check out our other videos, like this one, comment, share, and we'll see you again next time. Peace.